Well, alright then. Hello, friends. Well, this video has been on my mind for quite some time since I took the delivery of my XC40 Recharge, and for good reason. See, when I set off to buy an EV, I could not find any owner's reviews as such. I did come across a lot of reviews by auto journalists, by random YouTubers. What I was really looking for is how is it to really own this EV, how to live with an EV. Just hold on, guys. I just put it on cruise control. Yeah. Options, well, I had the MG ZS. As you are well aware, I think from the price perspective, the range is quite wide of what you can buy, when you're looking for an EV. Nexon, I already own a petrol one, so I didn't want to look at that, but I looked at practically all the options from ZS EV onwards. So we had the Kia EV6, the Hyundai's Ioniq 5, and also the BYD Atto had been launched, but was not too happy because I feel personally it's a bit over designed, a bit over engineered, and didn't really have I didn't really want to test drive that car. So see, the ZS EV per se is a very good car. I like the way it runs, and it's a very easy car to live with, but it felt something was missing. I was also not too sure about spending money on a Chinese manufacturer's car, so I held on to it. So the Kia EV6, although loaded with a lot of tech, and Kia has really given it all, didn't really click. I test drove it, liked all the features, all the the tricks up its sleeves, but it just didn't click. So I didn't look at it beyond the test drive. On the MG, even the dealer was offering fabulous discounts, but one test drive of the XC40 Recharge just simply nailed it for me. Ioniq 5, I did not really get an opportunity to test drive that car. Also for the reason that I felt probably Kia Hyundai, coming from the same stable, it wouldn't be a much of a different car than the EV6 itself. And I may be wrong, but that's frankly the reason why I didn't even test drive that car. And like I said, the XC40 Recharge has already done the bit for me in terms of the decision making, and therefore I simply decided to stick with that. Also, of course, the Volvo safety, the image it has in the Indian market, it's actually it comes under the luxury EV segment, right? And so all this is unbeatable, and personally a big reason for me to go for the Volvo. So coming to the powertrain, and that's what brings the biggest smile on your face. And when I first heard the power and torque figures of the XC40 Recharge, I was like, oh, this cannot be a Volvo. They must have hired some crazy bloke, who came up with this idea of having the fastest car, the fastest electric vehicle under the crore mark. And I must say, Volvo has done a brilliant job in executing this brilliant idea, because the way this the car works, the way it drives, and the kind of speeds it can achieve is just unreal. And to be honest, no words can really express the experience this car has to offer. One has to really drive to really experience and to know that. See, per se, the instant torque of electric cars is very famously addictive. Everybody knows about it. But when you have 660 Newton meters of it at the push of a pedal, the experience is surreal nonetheless. Add to the insane torque, this car has 400 horses, which sort of takes this machine from a 0 to 100 under 5 seconds. And again, that's a feeling that you really have to experience to know what it is, and it puts you on a different high altogether. So overtaking any car is it's as simple as a piece of cake. You simply dab the pedal and you're past it in no time. As you can see, the speeds also climb pretty quick. So 0 to 100 under 5 seconds, although I didn't believe it upfront, but yeah, once you drive it, when you feel that torque and the power of this car, it means business, and it does it so much better than any other ICE car that I have ridden, and it's ridiculous. So I stopped here. I thought I'll give you a demo of how quickly this car hits the 0 to 100 mark. So let's go. Yeah, you get a hang of that, right? So with this kind of power and torque in this car, overtaking any car is a piece of cake. And in fact, very often I find myself in a situation where other cars simply try to chase this one in a way, and probably because they get caught by surprise, that how quickly this car just disappears in front of them, and do end up facing that situation where others are trying to simply speed up, catch up, and try to overtake me. So it's risky, but I sometimes you can't avoid such situations on the road. I think this powertrain is the key ingredient to the recipe what the XC40 Recharge is, and it simply is brilliant piece of engineering that Volvo has come up with, the amazing optimization of fun and efficiency, and fun and sensibility, I would say. Well, all this performance does come at the cost of the ride quality, as the suspension is stiffened a bit to support the sporty performance and the sporty image of the car. It won't make much of a difference on let's say good roads, the roads like you're seeing right now, and even if they're slightly rough, I have never felt a thing. However, if the roads are really bad, you really need to go slow, as you'll feel those undulations and bumps because of the stiff suspension. Especially be aware of those potholes with sharp edges. That will definitely you'll be able to feel those if you hit one of those at when you're going high speed. But overall, I think I'm not unhappy, I would say, and I would really discount this as the XC40 Recharge. What it does make up is with amazing quality of NVH levels. So as you are probably able to experience it right now, I'm not in a lot of traffic. However, it just simply cuts you off from everything that's outside. And even in peak traffic, when unless somebody is honking really bad right next to you, I usually don't end up hearing a thing. And if you're someone who likes to listen to the music very loud with the volume up, in that case probably you'll not end up hearing even the honking around you. So it's that good quality of NVH that this car offers. And of course, EVs per se, the cabin is eerily silent, being an EV, but overall I feel the NVH level still, which and again I'm comparing to the other cars that I test drove, is just fantastic. See, driving in the car, so right now I'm on the highways, but even if you're driving this car in the city, it's an absolute breeze. And the quietness, the levels, like I said, of the NVH within the city as well, they make the drives very pleasant and very comfortable and relaxing. I do use this car to commute every day, and always practically find myself completely cut off from the peak hour traffic clutter. Well, about the ride and handling, so this is an all-wheel drive system. The two electric motors on each axle ensure that, and the whole system, the all-wheel drive system works really well to steer this car in all kinds of roads. I think the straights are the best, as you can see one here, and you can really gun it to get that load of instant torque that EVs are very famous for. And even I think when it comes to the twisties, this car does fairly well. So of course I've not driven a BMW to have a comparo. However, I feel standalone, this car does a brilliant job of giving you some fun around the twisties, and of course the straights are absolutely the best. So imagine this, you really like to go fast, and of course responsibly, but imagine when you get to go fast in what is a car made by the world's safest car maker. I mean, it just sweetens the deal, right? And that's exactly what this car does. You're so confident to just push it hard, knowing that the brilliant tech, that the safety tech that Volvo offers on this car is gonna it's gonna help you, it's gonna protect you in case things go south. But the brilliant tech, and also this car comes with a 19-inch alloy slapped with a 235 255 Pirelli rubber, and that sort of also makes it a very, very sticky car to drive. And I've driven it in I've driven it in real bad weather, and it was raining, pouring down like anything on the expressway, and it just seemed to stick to its ground, doing wonderfully well in the ghat section too. And with this kind of confidence that you get, you will find yourself doing triple digits very, very often, and that too in unreal time and in minimal effort. And it sort of scares you initially till you get used to it, but I think the whole safety net that Volvo has woven around this car makes it possible. Twisties, like I said, the all-wheel drive system works beautifully to steer this car. Of course, I've not driven a BMW, so I don't really know how it compares with it. But standalone, I think this car does a fabulous job around the twisties, and the trick, you have to get the trick right. So when you hit the pedal in at the right moment, when you're doing your twisties, you can have this really rapid exit outside the corners, and it will give you the nicest smile on your face like that one. Brilliant. So it just how you learn how to use this car and its speed responsibly, and ensuring that you don't overdo things there. Satisfy the driver in you. And also this car comes with an option of firming up the steering wheel a bit wherever you feel you need more feedback from the steering wheel. So how you activate that is you simply go to the menu, go to driving, and you click on steering wheel firm. So this I think what it does, it just firms up the whole feedback that you will get from the steering wheel, and I think makes you enjoy the twisties a bit more than in the normal mode. So I think that's an additional feature which you can use in case you feel on the twisties you are not getting much feedback from the steering. So this car does come with an off-road mode. Of course, you wouldn't really take this car for hardcore off-roading, but I think what it is best suited for are country roads like these, where that it's not well constructed and The off-road mode will really help you, make your journey a bit more comfortable. What it essentially does is it sort of tweaks the suspension, the powertrain in a bit to give you the most out of the off-roading, and it gives power to the wheel which needs the most traction to get you out of, let's say, a tricky situation if you happen to be in one during your off-road stints. See, when it comes to design, personally, design is very important for me, and I'll just tell you why it is so in a bit. When it comes to the XC40 Recharge, personally, I just love the design. Very clean, understated, and yet so sultry and appealing. Especially, with the front, with those Thor hammer LEDs, which especially look amazing in the night. The sides are the best angles for me. Though compact, I think it still looks and feels big enough, and even for those who are obsessed with the idea of big SUVs, it does the job for them. It's got the right number of creases and cuts across its bodywork, and I think the covered front grille, it simply looks stunning and smart, and I like it in fact better than the one on the petrol XC40. Coming to the bit why design is important, see, basically apart from all the technical stuff, the build quality, etc., what's more important for me is whether my car is making me glance back at it once I park it. It's kind of the measure of how much I admire the design and of the machine. And I tell you, this particular car, this baby, surely makes me does it every single time I park and walk away, and that for me is happiness. This is of course in addition to the heads it will turn while you're on the road from the external world, and especially I think it looks amazing in this fjord blue livery that it comes with. It's a color which is very, very unique to the XC40 Recharge, and it simply looks stunning in this color. The interiors are also designed for function more than form, and actually that's just how I like it. Not a fan of too complicated interfaces or a glittering facade, as personally I find it very, very distracting while you're driving. Also the fact that I don't think anyone really ends up using any of that fancy tech, and I'm comparing it to the usage of my flagship phone. So more or less the primary functional tech is all you need to have the best experience. I think that's how Volvo and me think alike, and the simple and yet a luxurious interior with the use of highly durable materials which feel awesome, by the way, to touch, they just work for me. And with the inbuilt Google, the voice assistant works flawlessly and gets pretty much everything done without fiddling too much with the center console. So I don't understand the fuss around lack of physical controls for the climate control, which I have heard a lot of auto journalists screaming about. Frankly speaking, I don't miss them, and even if you want to use the console, the climate control can simply be brought by just one click. So just click that and here it is. So I just don't understand the fuss of lack of physical buttons for climate control. Besides, like I said, the Google Assistant works flawlessly. So just to give you a demo of that. So hey Google, take me to the Gateway of India.
Navigating to Gateway of India, Mumbai.
And I think it also does a brilliant job. So as you can see right now, the battery is at 71%, and once you put a destination, it will tell you when you reach the destination what would be the battery life left in the car. So if you see, the 53% is what I'll be left with once I reach the Gateway of India, considering the traffic conditions. and that's brilliant. And I've often seen that it's quite accurate too, especially on my daily commutes. What it predicts when I reach my destination, it's very, very accurate. Also, for the climate control, the other reason why I don't miss the physical buttons or physical controls is because the Google Assistant works to simply do that as well. So just to again give you a demo, hey Google, set the temperature to 24 degrees.
Sure. Changing the temperature to 24 degrees.
So it's as simple as that, and I think a very simple interior. It just works for me, and I'm not going to go through the entire menu. You can watch many of those auto reviews where you will see that. But overall, a simple layout, just what you need: the music, the navigation, the car status. Also, it has something called as a range assistant in case you are depleting your battery rapidly, or maybe you feel you would not be left with a lot of charge for reaching your destination. This range optimizer really helps you in getting the most out of the battery. So I think overall it's something that works, and of course it does have the 360 cam, and it works just beautifully. So let me exit the front. So yeah, so that's how it looks, the 360. Especially it gets activated even when you're driving pretty close to traffic, or if you are, let's say, driving close to an obstacle. It comes up to life and it tells you that okay, you're steering very near to something which is a physical obstacle and you need to steer away from that. And even beyond that, Volvo goes a step further. If you feel or if the car thinks that you are still moving closer to the obstacle, the automatic braking will set in and will get activated, and the car will come to a stop by itself. So it intervenes automatically as well in case it senses that you are about to hit on an obstacle or hit on another pedestrian or a car or anything else. Just to show you the camera quality, yeah, that's how the rear camera is. Yeah, so I mean it's amazing. It's not just simply usable, it's much more than that, and it gives you a very, very clear picture of what's around you. Well, when it comes to EVs, the range is always a concern, but I must say Volvo does a great job of allaying that anxiety as well. The car comes with a company claimed range of over 400 kilometers, but in the real world I think around 350 kilometers plus is what I've got. And it is enough for my routine use of this car. It's like your phone, you actually do not really allow it to discharge completely. So for me, let's say whenever it comes down to 20%, I put it for charging and bring it back to around 90%, which is what is recommended by Volvo to optimize the battery life. Only when I'm hitting my intercity run. So I travel often to Pune, to Nasik from Thane, and that's when I charge it to 100%. And I've seen even in those situations I've managed to come back home without having a charging stop. So I remember from Pune, so I had been to Hinjewadi for a family function, and I was back to my home in Thane with 27% of battery left, which was quite amazing. And also my trip to Nasik, in fact we happened to go to Sula after doing a couple of meetings in Nasik, and then come back to my home in Thane, and I was still left with a range of around 13% of the battery. And this is despite the fact that if any of you travels in that route, you'll know that the traffic is pretty bad when you come back, especially at the entry point of Mumbai. And that's even in those conditions with the slow moving traffic for almost an hour, it managed to bring me back home with around 13-14% of battery left. So again, that sort of has now built that confidence in me, and To tell you the truth, range anxiety is now a thing of the past for me. I mean, I just simply take it, I drive it normally as I would drive my petrol car, and the range anxiety is gone. I would say for now, for at least the regular routine use that I use this car for. Also, this car has something called as a range optimizer. So in case you feel you are little concerned about reaching back, let's say without getting completely discharged or bringing the battery to a really low level, the car comes with something called as a range optimizer. So there's a range assistant, as you can see here, and what this does is once you turn it on, it'll optimize your speed, your driving style, as well as the climate control to get the max out of your battery range or battery capacity that is left with. So yeah, I think that pretty much helps to really not be concerned much about the range. Also, the car comes with a regen system. It's called a one pedal drive. So obviously whenever you brake, the car would add some juice back to the battery, but the one pedal drive is something which I end up using for I think predominantly in the city, in stop and go, and even in light traffic, because what it does, it's simply whenever you release the accelerator, it sort of regenerates the battery, and pretty much you end up driving your car using just one pedal. So you don't have to hit the brake at all, and when you completely release the accelerator pedal, the car actually comes to a stop. It does get some time to get used to, but once you're used to it, like how I am, I end up using it practically almost every single day in the city. So that's how addicting it is, and that's how easy to use it is once you get a hang of that system. So I think all this tech has really helped Volvo to optimize the battery life on this car, and thankfully, whatever they are claiming, I think this is one car where you will end up getting very close to the claim figures versus much of a range. So again, I think it depends a lot on your driving style, but when it comes to me, I drive this car like any other car. I don't really worry about how much will the battery be left, because I think the other reason is also there are a lot of charging stations across I think the routes that I commonly go on. So that also sort of helps in addressing my anxiety on the range. So in case you have to stop, this does come with a portable charger. You can use that and charge it using any routine 15 ampere plug, or if you have a fast charging station on the way, you can stop over and get it charged quickly. And it does support 150 kilowatt charging, I think. That sort of charges this car from 20 to 80% in half an hour or so. So that pretty much is something which you can work around with. And yeah, so range anxiety, I'll say, has been a thing of the past for me now. Yeah. To talk about a few more features, this Volvo comes with, like all Volvos, this XC40 Recharge is also loaded with a lot of tech, with a lot of features. A few of them which I particularly like includes the Harman Kardon music system. It's a 600 watt system that comes with this car, and it's ballistic, it's loud, so much so that if you do set it just to a 50% with volume, you'll be completely cut off from the outside noise. And at the same time, it's very, very clear. So they've done a great job of optimizing it. It comes with something called as an air woofer technology, which sort of improves the acoustics in the car. The other feature that I love about this car, it has got level 2 autonomous driving, and so it has an adaptive cruise control function, which is simply activated by clicking this switch on the steering wheel. So you simply click it once, you adjust the speed. You can see the little yellow digits just over the speedometer or the speed. Yeah, moment you adjust it, the car takes over and without your effort. It'll keep moving. It will detect the car in the front, and adjust its speed accordingly, as well as you can see, it does steer on its own as well. So I think all in all, this is a brilliant system. It just, especially if you are driving on highways which are properly marked, the lanes are properly marked, it will simply take all the effort out of driving on those roads, and the only thing you simply need to do is put your hand on the steering wheel, which it, by the way, it does detect. You can't be completely hands off while driving it. A perfect road to test this car's autonomous driving system and the adaptive cruise control. So let's do it. When you try to change lanes while the system is on, you get a slight tug on your on your arms, telling it to keep it within the lane, but it does allow you to do it after a bit. So this is the car automatically reducing speed since it's sensing the car in the front, but moment I, let's say, change the lanes, it'll speed up. See how well it will detect the lane markings and turn. Also worth mentioning is the clean air system. So essentially, what the system ensures that the air quality inside the cabin is maintained even when the AQI is bad outside, in the outside environment. And well, the other feature is the Google Assistant, which I spoke about, which is seamlessly integrated, and I've never felt the need to use Android Auto in my car. Some other features, such as there is a swipe to touch control which opens the panoramic sunroof, and the lights, which get activated by a simple touch. They're a charm to use, and it just elevates the experience that you get with this car. Some features that does miss out, of course, are ventilated seats. I feel that's a big miss for unknown reasons, but because globally this car does come with it. But ventilated seats per se wasn't a deal breaker for me, so it didn't really matter a lot. Well, lastly, a few practical considerations about the car. So this car comes with an 11 kilowatt home charger that Volvo provides you with it, and this essentially charges the car from 20% to 90% in around 4 or 5 hours, and it's very, very easy to use the whole process. What you need to ensure is before you install the charger, the sanctioned load at your home is equipped to accommodate the 11 kilowatt capacity, and in case that's not the case, you got to apply for it and get it sorted before you take the delivery of the car. So in my case, what happened, I wanted a separate meter for my EV, and luckily in Thane it just opened up, and although it took almost a month for the entire process, I think the process was pretty smooth, and I did end up installing a separate meter for my EV. Also in my case, since I got the delivery of the car before the charger got installed, I had to charge it at outside, at a third party high speed charging station for the first 2 weeks. It was not that difficult. The high speed charger ends up charging it in around an hour or so, and so it wasn't a big hassle. But now with the home charger installed, I just have to charge the EV once every 4 days or so, and that's up to 90% of the battery capacity. Overall, a covered parking works the best. So I, in my case, also have a covered parking. So it just ensures the charger is not, it's a device which is exposed right to the environment. So it's not really dirty or anything. Not that there is an issue installing it in open parking, but covered parking is better. Earlier, when I had to charge my EV at a high-speed charging station, even there the parking was out in the open, and I didn't really have any hassle getting my car charged even while it was raining. So a little bit of anxiety you have since you're dealing with an electric car, but I think once you are through the process, you realize it's pretty much doable. It's very, very easy to live with. Yeah, so that was about the car. I feel at around 61 lakhs on road, this is an unbelievable offering, from the Volvo stable, especially when you compare it to the likes of Ioniq 5, which is I think around 55, and Kia is I think around 65 lakhs. And with overall image, the reliability badge, the safety badge that Volvo dons in India, and this made even more lucrative with the 8-year warranty that it offers on the battery, plus 4 years of maintenance, and the Google services which are free for the first 4 years. Overall low running cost. I think overall all these factors should convert to a stress-free ownership of this really underplayed hooligan, I will say. Volvo doesn't call it that, but it's a great car, and it just adopts all those roles very, very easily. I call it my family sports car.